against Peugeot as we watch Alan McNish being strapped into his car on the second row of the grid. Alan has everything to do today. He's out of the championship standings, but they want to win this race. He won the last 2 times that he came here with Audi in 2004 and 2005. He wants to do it again, but the problem is his teammates, Alex Premat and Mike Rockenfeller, are up against Peugeot for the title. Just 2 points between them as they come here with Peugeot on the front row of the grid. I'm Mark Coe, with me Chris Hartley, Chris Parsons, and we'll have other guests joining us during the day. We're going to be with you most of the time, apart from our cuts across to the FIGT Championship and to World Motocross at Faenza. But apart from that, we'll be live here at Silverstone, so keep the comments coming on the forums. Chris Hartley. Great day, sunshine, a huge crowd, and the best racing in the world.
Perfect, yeah. Full grid, nice full grid, 46 cars. It might not be quite so close between Peugeot and Audi in the drives we would have liked, but it's certainly close between the 2 Peugeots, just 11 thousandths covering them in the qualifying session. The drivers getting ready to go out now for a 1,000-kilometre race, about 195 laps around here at Silverstone.
Yeah, just going to talk to Dr. Wolfgang Ulrich of Audi. Let's hear what he's got to say.
And the last race, I guess you're hoping for a win this time.
For sure, we hope for a win this time here in Silverstone. The last time we've been here with the Le Mans Endurance Series, we could win here. It was a race with heavy rain here, so we have good memories on that. We have been closer in qualifying than ever. Also seeing that the lap of the Peugeot have not been completely free like ours as well. But we, as always, fight for making the best result out of it. And the race is over after 6 hours.
What's going to be the tactic? Is it going to be still again playing on reliability and perhaps fewer pit stops?
I mean, we have a small advantage in fuel consumption. That's what we try to use. But I think the important thing is that our competitors always feel us making some pressure behind them.
Well, we had dinner with Dr. Ulrich last night and wanted to talk about the race, but Chris Parsons, all he really wanted to talk about was particle accelerators. He was fascinated by that.
Yes, the CERN accelerator, which we were all worried about. I was actually in Geneva the other day and we were worried whether we were flying into a big black hole, but I managed to get back again eventually after a 5-hour delay. But there we are. Here we are, Mark Cole, Chris Hartley and myself, on a very sunny Silverstone, yeah, for the 1,000 kilometres.
Try not to get too distracted by the pictures we were just seeing.
Yeah, but Audi are disappointed by the weather. They wanted rain. They were desperate to have rain this weekend because they know that's really their only chance of beating Peugeot unless these the French turbo coupes have problems. That's not unheard of, but they really have got themselves sorted out this year.
Yes, Mark, both of the Peugeots had problems yesterday. One of the cars was really quite badly damaged in an accident in practice, and then we had the small incident which did some damage to the back end of one of the cars in actual qualifying, which nearly meant the car couldn't qualify properly.
So Michel Barge, the team manager of Peugeot, they're just wishing luck to his lead car. That's the car of Pedro Lamy, one that's on pole position with Sarrazin. Of course, it's the other car, Manassi and Genève, that's fighting for the championship. So they're starting on the front row. Chris Hartley, do you think they're going to let that number 7 car go?
You would imagine at some point, wouldn't you? Because that's the one that can take the title. Of course, Peugeot are most interested in the manufacturer's title, which is looking fairly secure. They haven't quite got it yet, but they can't afford to take each other out, that's for sure.
Right, so as you said, 195 laps ahead, plus this rolling lap they're about to start on, or 6 hours, whichever comes first. But with the weather looking the way it does at the moment, it is a beautiful autumn morning here at Silverstone, just about to become afternoon. The time here is 11:20. If you're watching in Europe, obviously you're an hour ahead of us. But we're looking at pit stops probably every 55 minutes for the bigger cars. That's when they'll need fuel. The LMP2s, GT2s can go that much further. So pit stop strategy is going to come into it certainly today. This is the Autosport 1,000 kilometres. First one since the 1980s. 24th time that Silverstone has run 1,000-kilometre races. Most of those, of course, during the golden era of Group C racing. And just before that, one of the really historic races, 1980, Chris Parsons, when Desiree Wilson and Alain de Cadenet took their de Cadenet to the win here. Surprised everyone.
Yes, there are always a lot of hiccups in sports car racing, and you know, hopefully we might see a few dramas here today, but no doubt there'll be plenty to talk about as the cars go off on their formation lap. and we'll be following them all round.
No better side in motor racing, is there, apart from perhaps the Le Mans 24 Hours itself? Silverstone, one of the classic 1,000-kilometre races. Pierre Monnier of the BRDC took this under his wing. It was always made as the precursor, the run-up to Le Mans. Of course, nowadays it's later in the year, but this was always the indicator who could win at Le Mans. And when Jaguar came here in 1988, and that's when Cheever and Brundle won the race here. They then went on with the Jaguars and won at Le Mans. Chris Hartley, just take us around this circuit at the moment, going through Beckett's blindingly fast.
That's going to be one of the key sectors. The drivers love it through there. It is absolutely nailed through there. These cars flying through it close to 200 kilometres an hour. We've got a spinner on the formation lap there, which isn't the best thing in the world to do. That's a number 5 car, which had qualified, well, not that well actually. 11th place for the Team Orica car. Sahel Ayari taking the spin there, but I suppose better to do it now than once the green lights come on.
Yeah, but Soy is one of these French drivers who did all his British Formula 3 apprenticeship. He knows this circuit.
We'll be talking about this a little bit later, but one of the proposals from the ACO for next year is no tyre warmers, and that will exacerbate that problem.
Right, so as they come through, there's the Audis and then the Charoux Aston Martin. That car looking really good. Nick Lapierre, Adrian Vallis, Jos Verstappen, Jean-Christophe Bouillon and Stephen Simpson in the creation. They've replaced Liz Halliday this weekend. She was given a one-off at Nürburgring. Ryan Lewis has been brought over from America to have that drive, and that car looking to head for Petit Le Mans. Hopefully Ryan Lewis is going to get that drive there. Here we are as they're coming up now from the Vale up into Abbey, turn 11. 17 corners on this circuit. And then, Chris, my favourite corner on this track, Bridge.
Yeah, they come back into the complex, into all the grandstands and the noise of the crowds, and that's another extremely quick corner. It's a pretty tight right-hander, but they take it very, very quickly. Run right to the edge of the circuit there, and then it's into the more technical twisty bits through to Priory and then through Luffield and Woodcote to round out the lap.
Yeah, this is right in front of the BRDC suite, of course, and they're all up there. And we know amongst people watching today, Jane Leslie, she's here and she's up in the suite watching this. Of course, we all greatly miss David, her husband, who is our co-commentator on these events. So anyway, Jane, you and Graham enjoy the race today. Through Woodcote, and they rolling start, they're coming up to take the start.
Yes, they'll have to slow down because at the moment they're very strung out.
Right, safety cars pulled off and we're getting ready to go. The 2 Peugeots at the front are going to hold the field. No overtaking, remember. But look at that, the number 8 car, Pedro Lamy, straight into the lead, but alongside him the 7 cars, they get down to Copse, and Alan McNish making a bit down the inside as well. Can he do anything? No, he can't. He goes back to the outside, he goes round the outside, oh! And we've got the number 7 car off the track. Well, how's that for a start, Chris?
Well, that was extremely... 2 Peugeots almost came together themselves, and while they were worrying about each other, Alan McNish darted around the outside, an opportunistic piece of driving. You can tell he's been around Copse a few times, and he stole the run on them, so up to 2nd place. Fantastic start for the Scot.
And McNish really is flying. Yesterday in qualifying, he was absolutely mighty, thoroughly enjoying himself. And look at him closing down on the Peugeot, coming down into Stowe.
Where's Nick Manasseh enjoying? That's what we want to know. He's the man who's leading the championship. He was back to front. There we are in 13th place at the moment. He has got a mountain to climb over the next hour. Here they come then through the club complex, coming down now. Round Club just goes on and on forever, this corner. Then that short burst up along the farm straight, and then they dive down after this through Abbey, then Farm, then Bridge. And look at this, Alan McNish really pushing now, so Pedro Lamy has got that Audi all over the back. We thought they were going to go away, Chris Hartley, much faster than this. Yeah,
into the complex, and McNish has been pretty quick through here, through the sector times in qualifying, just closing up on the brakes there on the way to the first part of the complex through Priory and Brooklands. He'll now go up to Luffield, winding up to the end of lap number 1 already. See him taking a tighter line through there, just eyeing up and trying to weigh up his opportunities to get past the Peugeot.
Maybe this is Audi's strategy. Their only chance is to hope that they can force Peugeot into making mistakes. They've already done it on the first lap, and if Alan McNish can harry this car, the first Peugeot, and into another mistake, maybe Audi can get this race by over Peugeot.
Fernando Reis, the Brazilian driver, he's spun there in the middle of the complex. Everyone's trying to weave their way around him. He's not in a dangerous place. This is one of the slowest points of the circuit, but if he can't get that car started, we might even be looking at a safety car, because they're not going to put marshals out there.
No, it was 12th on the grid as well, qualified pretty well. Great news, of course, this for the other Audi, which is in with the chat of the title, Mike Rockenfeller, and driving at the moment, Alexander Premat, the Frenchman, who, won a few years ago the inaugural the A1 GP title. He's pretty new to sports car racing, but doing a solid job. He's there in 3rd place now, and he's got his teammate in front of him, harassing the other Peugeot.
Yeah, but he's also got Stefan Mucker harassing him in that Charouz Lola. The Aston Martin in the Lola there's punching out so much power. It's a petrol car, and of course they're leading all the Pescaronas. Look at this, the 4 of them breaking away from the whole field. They're just dropping Nick Lapierre now in the Team Oreca Courage.
By the way, the Minassian car came through in 10th at the end of that first lap after the spin.
3 places he's made up. Let's just have a quick look down the order, see where the rest of the pack are. Peter Cox leading in GT1 from pole, Rob Bell leading GT2 from pole, and in LMP2 it was Rees. He was the leader of that class. Where is Verstappen? He's not showing at the moment. There we are. I'm sorry, I'm looking on the wrong screen. It's Verstappen there, and he's ahead of Pompadou, the man who Minassian ran into yesterday in the Speedy Coupe Lola.
This is a replay of that start line incident. Look, you have to back off out of it to avoid hitting his teammate, but Nish comes around the outside. I don't think he made contact with him. I think he just got into a spin all by himself there because he was off the line.
I think he did, because he just helped Alan off the track there. I think he just wasn't aware Alan was there and just caught him in the rear corner. Hopefully it hasn't damaged that Audi, but as you said, very good strategy, Chris Parsons, by Audi. Just get out ahead with the Alan Manish's car and let the championship contending car pick up the pieces.
It's the old thing of the hare and the tortoise, and Alan Manish would appear to be Audi's hare today. So let's see. But although the Pedro Lamy car was seeming to go away, but here's the Nick Minassian car coming through.
Up to 8th now. He's all over the back of Jos Verstappen. Jos will let him through. There's no reason to hold that Peugeot up. Jos is running his own race, his own championship. He's run the championship, of course, and as we heard him say at the head of the programme, probably the last race for this car in these Van Merkstein colours. But what a good year they've had.
Yeah, he's driven tremendously well, hasn't he? And obviously a superb run at Le Mans as well, Jos Verstappen, to take that one. He is on fire, and I don't think he'll fight too hard, as you said, and indeed, Minassian picks up the place. Different class, of course. Lets
him through. Adrian Vallis will be the next one he wants to pick off in the Epsilon Euskadi.
Pretty competitive, doesn't he? You're looking at the 2nd place LMP2 car, number 33, Xavier Pompadou, the Lola Judd. That one he's sharing with Steve Zacchia and Andrea Belic. They qualified 13th, 3rd best of the LMP2s, but they've got themselves up into 2nd now. 3rd in the category is the number 31 Team Essex car, Casper Elgaard and John Nielsen, who are on the class podium at Le Mans as well.
And here we have the team for the 2nd Porsche. And as Mark was saying earlier, these cars do not have the latest engines in them. We're hoping they will have the latest direct injection engines. But when Guy Smith joins us later, we'll question him about the advantage of those engines.
There is Casper Elgaard in the Team SX Run 31 car, the Porsche, which is 2nd in its category, 3rd in its category, running in 10th place. You've got 3 LMP2 cars in the top 10 at the moment, but the battle at front, well, it's hovering between the 1 and 2 second barrier, and the battle for 3rd is on as well. It's Peugeot versus Audi for 1st and 2nd, and exactly the same sentence you can say for 3rd place as well. 1.6 seconds between the top 2. Number 8, Lamy in the Peugeot. Number 1, Alan Manish in the Audi. And then there is less than, well, there's half a second just about between 3rd and 4th. Minassian in the number 7 Peugeot coming back through the order. And Alexander Premat, who is also another young driver that's impressing it with much less sports car experience than many of the others around him.
And he just got past the Oreca Courage going into Stowe. So he's got a car between him and, no, Premat's got past it as well, so battle joined.
Yeah, that 5 car's down to 11th now, having run just around about the top 6 earlier on, but one of the 3 cars to get an additional stop goal there. It's not affected really Jos Verstappen's position. He's still solidly 7th overall. He's just coming across the line now in front of our commentary box in the purple number 34 machine. There is Nick Manassian, number 7, just about to come into the complex. Driving very, very well indeed around here, and very much on the pace. That car didn't seem to suffer any real damage in the first corner incident, and most of his problem was really trying to get back through the traffic, back through the top 10 earlier on in the race. But at that speed, that car is certainly almost as quick.
Driving, of course, the number 31 S6 Porsche, John, the 34 Porsche, entered by Peter van Wegstein at the stop and go penalty. Well, it has been a good opportunity for you to progress in the classification.
Well, it always is, obviously. Yes, we also have a little problem with the car, with our tire pressures. They seem to go up, so we're going a bit slow at the moment. But if our competition have to stop, that will help us, yes, of course.
John Nilsson, whatever is the result here at Silverstone, did you like the Le Mans Series this year with this Porsche?
Yeah, it's been a wonderful season, and finishing here at Silverstone is fantastic. We would like to do more races, but let's see what happens.
John Nilsson, thank you very much. The Team Essex there explaining about the stop-go penalty for Casper Elgaard and John Nilsson, who were second in class at Le Mans, and still battling here for a class podium here at Silverstone, Mark.
Yeah, of course, outright Le Mans winner in 1990 for Jaguar, Silk Cut Jaguar. So Big John doesn't change much, does he? Still looks much the same. Just picking up a couple of comments on our European contributors. Lot 0004 saying you've been talking about the best sports car drivers. Yes, Alan McNish, he said, of course, but what about Tom Christensen? Shouldn't he be up on the top there?
He's not bad, is he?
Not bad, but he's a Le Mans specialist, isn't he?
This is true.
Yeah, and Tom hasn't shone in the DTM terribly.
No, but yeah, he's up there. But as you say, he's a Le Mans man, and he's had a very good run of cars at Le Mans. And I don't think he's shown the pure aggression and pure speed that Alan McNish can summon up. Yeah, no doubt though we'll be knocked down on that one in the forum.
But of course Alan across a whole range of different cars. And Pim Toynes, our friend from Holland, he says he might also consider Jan Lammers, James Weaver, Andy Wallace, Derek Bell as great drivers. He said, thing about Jos Verstappen, who he knows well, he says he has to compromise when he gets in the car, because you take a car over, it might not be quite set up to you, it has worn tyres, you're re-entering the race in traffic. At the end of the day, you've got to hand that car back to your co-driver, still drivable.
This is a team sport, and you've got 2 or 3 drivers. If you want to go down lists, Mark, what about Jackie Hicks and what about Hans Stuck?
Right. Oh dear, we started something, haven't we, Mr.
Yes,
Hartley?
Oh, we got a big moment here. One of the
two cars. 2
GTs off.
Is that the Shrews Lola? It's a Porsche, and it looks like
it's the 76 Porsche 997 Richard Leeds.
Yeah, that's the Matmut car, isn't it? But further down, there's a coupe in the wall. Oh, it's that's the RML car, isn't it? Is it the RML coupe? Difficult to tell from here. We're not going to excite people yet, but it's not a Peugeot.
That's the Peugeot.
It is a Peugeot.
Oh. That's the race leader out. Just got the back end of it. Well, that was coming on to Hanger Straight, I think, wasn't it, through Beckett's corner?
Hopefully we'll see that again. This is a big blow to Peugeot. Is it the race leader or is it the 7 car?
No,
it's the 8 car.
Number 8 car.
Here we go.
Here we see it again.
Right. What happens here? Tries to squeeze between the two. Oh, just no room, is there? Tries to squeeze between the two.
Oh, and just avoided flipping.
Yes.
Just.
He was very lucky there not to take off.
How many times this year have we seen cars flying like that?
Yes.
So that's the number 8 car, and still at the wheel of that car, of course.
So the safety car is out now. Right. And will be for quite a time. I think that car is definitely out of the race.
Big drama. Well, we don't know yet. We've seen with Audi so many times they bring crippled cars back, but I think you're probably right, Chris. I think on this occasion it's not looking good. So this is not, of course, the championship contending car. This is number 8 car, Pedro Lamy. And big blow. Here we go again. He tries to squeeze between those 2 cars. Just doesn't realise the Porsche's there, does he?
Is that the 7 car, actually? Is that the 7 Peugeot?
It's the 7 or the... I think it's the 7.
I think it's
Manassian, isn't it?
Yeah. It goes on and on. right now is panic in the Audi pits, of course.
There's Ralph Juttner making policy on the hoof, and wondering what they can do and whether they're far enough into their stint to bring the drivers in under the safety car to get the cars better track position when the track goes green. But we can see the safety cars coming out, and we'll see what happens. Yes, it is the 7 car. It is the 7 car.
So Nick Manassian there, just
Nick Manassian,
squeezed between two. But we were talking about getting through the back markers a few minutes ago, and
well, you realise what this means is the car that's 4th in this queue behind the safety car is going to be the champion, because they only came here 2 points behind.
Well, they've got to finish the race yet, but
and they're going to be
ultra cautious now, Mark.
Let's just see how that's going to affect the title. I mean, Marc Genet has not even got in the car yet, and this is Marc Genet's home track. He spent a lot of his education time at Buckingham University doing business studies, always regarded the town of Buckingham and Silverstone Circuit as his home tracks.
Just going to get 3 points, haven't they, to wrap it up, basically. So that's all they need to do, get
this is
up into 5th.
Absolute disaster for Peugeot. So all Audi's efforts are now going to be on that number 2 car, and what they're going to have to do, of course, is tell the number 1 car to eventually let that by. That make it too obvious.
But again, it just shows the value of pushing the cars.
So Lami's still leading, of course, but even if they win here today, and let's just hear from Michel Bage.
Well, Nico is okay. That's the main thing.
The main thing, obviously, now the car number 7 out of the running for the championship, unless, of course, something happens to the Audi the Audi as well.
Yes, that's it. Yeah. Okay.
So,
Michel, thanks very much.
We heard there from Michel Bage that Nicolas Manassian is okay as the race-leading Peugeot, which we thought for a moment or two it was Pedro Lamy. It wasn't. He's come into the pits. The other Audi has come into the pits as well. Dare I mention, Mark, that the Manufacturers' Championship is not wrapped up either.
Oh, no.
Only 6 points between them.
Yeah, still everything to fight for there, but it's the drivers is the one that everyone really, really notices, isn't it? So
this is an interesting battle here, the battle of the pit stops.
Yeah.
They're both going to be they're shadowing each other, going to see which car can get out first. This is going to be a struggle. You can see how difficult it is with the Peugeot, with the mechanic climbing in the other side. They're probably going to try and change drivers because they've got a bit more time now. And they do have a problem with pit stops, getting drivers in and out of the Audis, out of the Peugeots, whereas the Audis, it's a very simple operation.
This has all gone absolutely disastrously wrong for Peugeot. At the moment, Audi's poised to win this title. If that number 2 car can even hold position there,
they're going to do it. McNish has got the lead.
McNish has pulled out ahead.
Fantastic.
Again, this underlines what Chris Parsons was saying, how much longer a driver change takes with a coupe.
Yes, and also, I think for the past 25, 30 years, Reinhold Jost has always had that end pit. And it's always been unfashionable to be right up that end of the pit lane, but he's always requested that pit. He seems to have a lease on it, I think.
Yep.
And let everyone else come the other way. And I think the car, they're having to stop completely coming out of the Beckett's complex. Obviously, there is a hold up on the circuit, and cars have come to a halt.
Well, yeah, they can't. This race has gone rather pear-shaped for the moment, hasn't it? So what's holding everything up? This is coming out onto the hangar straight, isn't it? So obviously there's a major rescue operation, that Peugeot, going on at the moment. But
well, it was the GT car that was stuck in the middle of the track, wasn't it? Which is probably had to be dragged off.
Yeah,
there it is, the Porsche. So that's the problem. There's going to be a lot of debris across the track.
Debris everywhere. But the worst thing for Peugeot there is the championship leading car out of the race, wrecked against the wall. And at the moment, Alex Premat and Mike Rockenfeller for Audi. Here we go, here's a replay of it. Gets squeezed between one of the Speedy Sebars and the Porsche, and nearly takes off. The air gets under the car again, almost goes flying, but the Porsche and the Peugeot both finish up hitting the wall hard. And as you said, Chris Hartley, debris all across the track.
Yeah, completely. And that has really, I mean, within a big blink of an eye, Peugeot got it all under control, manufacturer's driver's title. It's just completely changed, and to rub salt into the wounds, the Audi, McNish handing over now to his teammate, has gone into the lead. Dindo Capello leading this one.
Yeah, so there are the two team principals. We're going to take a break. We'll be back on Motors TV European service in just a couple of minutes. Stay with us. Welcome to Motor TV, welcome back to Silverstone, the Autosport 1,000 kilometres, and since you left us 2 hours ago, we've had all manner of disasters, particularly for Peugeot. Another car taken out, one of the Audis taken out, both those cars dropping right down the order now, but Alan McNish and Dindo Capello have fought back through into second place. But the men who are leading here at Silverstone are Audi's Alexandra Premat and Mike Rockenfeller, and if they can stay there, they are going to be champions in about 2 hours' time. Just came out to 1/3 distance, 125 laps are on, which is exactly third distance in fact, and the race order, as we say, it's Audi, and then Courage, then Lola Aston Martin, and then Pescarola. Peter Van Merkel and Jos Verstappen are leading LMP2, Antonio Garcia and Thomas Enger leading in GT1 for Aston Martin, and still it's Rob Bell and Jaime Mello in that Virgo Ferrari leading GT2, so no change there. But Chris Hartley, huge changes at the top of the field while we've been away.
You could say that, absolutely. It turned on its head this race within, what, a 5-10 minute period. It was all looking sweet for Peugeot, despite the iffy start for Minassian. And then he, coming up to lap one of the GT2 Porsches, got tangled up, as we saw just before we left. Got tuck out of the race, the Porsche's out as well, big safety car period, so the championship leaders out. Then the Audis managed to pit during the safety car period and got in front, and then just after we left you, just after the restart, we had the McNish Audi, which had been handed over at that point to his teammate Dindo Capello, restarting right alongside the Peugeot number 8 that had been leading, with Lamy handing over to Sarrazin on the restart into Copse Corner. The Audi was on the inside, the Peugeot tried to go around the outside, and they both hit each other and went off at Copse Corner, got stuck in the gravel, damage to both cars, and long pit stops, but much longer in the pits for the Peugeot. The Audi got going again, didn't lose too much time because of the safety car. Dindo Capello went back out, and between him and McNish, who's now back at the wheel, they've managed to fight themselves back up to second place. But the main thing, of course, is that the other Audi, Rockenfeller, has got into the lead of the overall race now, and that's more than enough to take the Drivers' Championship. They just need to finish 6th to get the title.
Not only the drivers, but the team's championship as well. Oh, that's the replay. There we go again of that accident. This is what you missed very early in the race. That was when Minassian went off heavily. The second accident you haven't seen yet. Hopefully we will get a replay in a couple of minutes. In fact, here it goes.
Side by
now
side.
watch this. This is Sarrazin on the outside of McNish. They touch outside of Capello. They touch and both go off at Copse, across the wall, gravel into the wall. Both will continue, but the Peugeot, which has now rejoined the race, is down in 28th place overall. And I think Peugeot won't be issuing a press release after this race. They're going to be issuing a suicide note.
Well, they came here with a 6-point lead in the manufacturers. Drivers were 2 points in front, and now it looks like they're going to win 4 out of 5 races, and Audi are going to win 1, and they're going to end up winning the series, Audi.
Yeah, but we've still got still got another 70 laps to go. It's a long race, this. It's not going to run out to the time, despite the 2 safety cars. Let's hear from Serge Saulnier.
Team members here looking quite disappointed, very disappointed. Obviously, the race is lost, probably also the championship. What is the future now, as far as you can see it?
As I told you few minutes before, we did not expect that Audi will give up easily. In fact, it was a difficult race. They raced hard. I did not expect they will race so hard because they did not hesitate to go to the contact a few times. And I will say we have not to be disappointed or disappoint. We just have to learn the lessons and get the experience for the future.
This race in general seems to be a very aggressive race compared to some of the other ones. It's a much more aggressive race here in Silverstone.
But I think Audi did an aggressive race. It's what they had to do, especially with one car, with the number one, and try to save the position of the number two. You know, few time I thought we were in a DTM race and not in a sports car race.
So Serge Saunier and Peugeot, they're saying we must not be too disappointed. Part of the reason for that, Chris, is of course Peugeot last night announced their new 908HY, the hybrid, and this they see is the future of the sport. And just coincidentally, Zytek have also been looking at that, and John Manchester from Zytek is up with us here this afternoon. And John, let's have a quick word.
Hello, Mark.
Yeah.
Pleasure to be back here again.
Yeah. So, John, ACO yesterday announced their new regulations, and they're talking about hybrid cars, which they're desperate to encourage. But next year, they said you can run, but you won't be classified.
Yeah, a little bit surprised by that announcement, I think. Nobody expected that. They're going to sort of establish exactly what they mean in November, so whether they address that or if that's their firm decision. A little bit of a problem, I think, in the fact that it's going to be very difficult for somebody to come into the series for next season and to run a hybrid. You're going to be doing some very expensive testing, really, and I think that's probably going to discourage people. Whether IMSA adopt the same rules, I don't know. As you're probably already aware, we've done a sort of a deal with Corsa Motorsport in the States to run a hybrid program for the full duration of the 2009 season. So hopefully IMSA probably look at that and decide not to impose what the ACO have said and stop you gathering points and placing it.
Yep. So, I mean, it brings back to mind, those of us around at the time, that the Rover BRM programs at Le Mans, 0-0 cars. Can you imagine you're going to be a 0-0? Or
I suppose you can draw similar comparisons. Yes, let's hope it doesn't quite come to that.
So you will be pushing, of course, then to be included as fully fledged racing members of the LMS.
We're totally committed to do a hybrid program for next season. We've been doing an intensive program. Of course, Zytek were the first company to introduce a hybrid back in the Q9 days. I think it was about 99 at Le Mans. So we've had the technology for some years now, and obviously it's been developed with a world leader in electric motor technology, and it's advanced a lot since the 10 years when we first introduced it with the Q9. Yeah,
and of course, was that the panels program?
It was the panels, yeah.
Yeah, which we saw at Petit Le Mans. We were there on site when John Nielsen and drove it. Dave Price was running the operation, wasn't he? Yeah. But this is actually quite a different animal,
isn't it? This is different, yeah. Technology has moved a lot further forward since those days. Battery technology is a lot better than it was 10 years ago, and the motor and the controller technology. So I think that it's going to be certainly a lot better and a lot more competitive than it was 10 years ago. There's no question. Yeah.
And just for our viewers, just to be absolutely clear, when we talk about hybrid, we're not talking about hybrid chassis, which was what happened over the last few years. This is the you harnessing your excess power. You don't need braking power, engine braking power into electric cells, and then using that for extra boost.
You're using the motor as it's a three thing really. It's used as a starter, so use the motor to start the engine. Use it as a generator, so it charges the batteries under normal running conditions and also under braking, and as an additional power source as well. So you're getting three into one, if you like.
Do you actually get a push to pass effect if it comes in?
Yeah, that depends on what the ACO say. They said they're going to limit the amount of kilowatts the motor can produce and the amount of usage you get in each lap. So obviously that's also dependent on the energy storage capacity of the batteries. So I think that it will be a similar push to pass thing, where you'll probably be using it to go overtake a car or to use extra performance down the straight.
Yeah. So November's going to be the crunch point when, of course, the ACO have their main press conference.
That's right.
In Paris, and
so
you'll be lobbying Daniel Prosino before.
We should be interested to see what the outcome is, indeed. Yeah.
Just go back to Chris Hartley for a moment. Chris, what have you seen? Anything there?
Yeah, well, we've been going quite a long way into this race now. 129 laps, and we've still got two really tight battles inside the top 10. And one of them, indeed, is for third place. Just a couple of minutes ago, we were watching the 10 car of Stefan Mucker. Getting very close behind him was Nicolas Lapierre, the former A1 GP racer for France in the number 6 machine. And just behind them, they're third and fourth. Then fifth and sixth, you've got Romain Dumas, the American Le Mans expert racer in the 6D machine. He's only, he was 4 seconds ahead of Stéphane Ortelli in the number 5 machine, but that gap's been steadily coming down. There's only 3.4 seconds between them now. So 6 and 10 are close for third, and 16 and 5 are very close place in the battle for 5th.
And let's look at LMP2, because back to John Manchester, Zytek, you've been fighting all afternoon. You've been running in 2nd place. We're just going to take a pause in just a moment, but just looking at the orders, Van Merck, Lammers has just at the moment moved into 2nd, but he's 1 pit stop behind Warren Hughes. Welcome back to Motors TV. We are live at Silverstone for the Autosport 1000 kilometres. Those of you expecting to see FIGT, problems with that feed, so we are going to stay at Silverstone on the British feed, so good news for those of you who are Le Mans fans. Just to let you know the results of the GT1 from Bruno. Race 2, GT1 was won by Wendlinger and Sharp in the Aston Martin. GT2 going to Jimmy Bruni and Tony Villander for Ferrari. So that's a big fillip for Jimmy Bruni, because he is not racing here today at Silverstone with Rob Bell, because he had to go and defend his championship lead in Brno. So a win for him and Villander in GT2 Ferrari. So as we said, you've got us back now right the way through until 5:30. It's Mark Cole, Chris Hartley, Chris Parsons. Guy Smith's going to be joining us soon, and we've got other guests floating around. Lola hopefully coming up a little later. The positions here at Silverstone at the moment after 140 laps is Mike Rockenfeller and Alan McNish 1-2 for Audi, Stefan Mucker for Lola Charouz. What a great performance by them. They were actually leading the race at one stage, 3rd overall, and then Courage in 4th place. Romain Dumas, who's taken over the 16 Pescarolo, he's in 5th place. It's the Dutch Porsche of Peter van Merkstein leading LMP2. He and Jos Verstappen doing a good job. Antonio Garcia is leading with Thomas Enger in the Modena Aston Martin in GT1. And Rob Bell continues to lead in GT2. Jaime Mello at the wheel at the moment, and Mello, of course, along with Miko Sala, the defending ALMS champions from 2007, driving for Rizzi Ferrari, and they won Le Mans as well this year, so good afternoon for them. Jamie Mello doing his chances of getting more Ferrari rides, no harm at all. There is the Van Merkstein Porsche. They've just had such a solid run today, Chris Hartley, haven't they? And you can't do better than that. It's a turnkey car. They've won virtually every time out, except in Monza when they had that collision.
Well, when all the Peugeots and Audis started taking each other off, we thought we might even get on the podium at one point, but flattered to deceive. It's in 8th place overall, though. Former Grand Prix racer Jan Lammers is 2nd in LMP2. He's a couple of places back in 10th. And not on the same lap. And then Warren Hughes, former British touring car racer with MG, is 3rd at the moment in the number 45 car, having a guest drive here. 11th place overall and 28.3 seconds behind Lammers. That's still close, isn't it? We just actually saw the 2 of the Porsches together. That's the Essex car was just being come up to be passed by the Van Merkstein car. We're on board with the race leader, Rocky at the wheel, and this man, such a likeable young German. He and Alex Premat, his French partner, they've become such good friends this year, good teammates, and Rocky learning here, Chris Parsons, from last year, wasn't it? Particularly for Rocky at Le Mans.
Yes, he had a dreadful off at Tetra Rouge, and just couldn't get the Audi back. He tried for a long time to get it started, but the wheels were all pointing different directions, and he just had to give up. Talking of wheels going in different directions, I think we've got one of the Courages with that problem.
Yeah,
that's
Olivier Panis.
Abbey Chicane.
Panis, yeah, he's got a puncture, hasn't he? He's just coming in, puncture or suspension problem.
4th place car, that had been going really well up until that point.
Yeah, well, hopefully it's nothing worse than a blowout or a flat.
It's 2.5 minutes up on Romain Dumas.
Hugh de Schoenack, the team joint team with Yves Courage, shaking his head. Oh dear, maybe it's more than the puncture, Chris. He's shaking his head.
I don't think. Yes, you can see the tires rubbing on the bodywork. I thought the wheel looked as if it wasn't quite pointing in the right direction. No, it doesn't seem to be a flat there.
Still inflated, isn't it?
So
it's a suspension breakage. Let's see what happened.
Here we go.
Is there going to be a collision here? No, something just breaks as he comes down the farm straight, doesn't it?
Yeah. So another change.
Yeah.
One thing we must point out now: Alan Manish is only 1 minute behind Rocky in the number 2 car.
He's closing.
The gap is coming down. Yes.
Yeah.
Whether he'll be allowed to close right in, we'll see. We've still got a good amount of time to go.
So in comes Olivier Panis. He brings that car in. Hopefully nothing too serious. As you said, Chris Hartley, 4th place that car was in, and squeeze between Stefan Mucker and Roman Dumas, who is at the wheel of Pescarolo. Now, talking about Roman Dumas, Roman, of course, remained one of the stars of the American Le Mans series. Another of the stars, we're delighted, is joining us this afternoon, Guy Smith. So, Guy Smith driving for Dyson Porsche this year. Great to have you up here, and a bit of a busman's holiday coming here, isn't it?
It is. It's turned out to be a great race. Thank you very much for having me. It seems to be pretty wild, this race so far.
Two more GTs going off.
Oh dear.
94, the Speedy Racing team, and
JMB Ferrari.
JMB Ferrari going off.
Oh dear, oh dear. So, would you like to go away for a while? So, Guy, we've been talking about how good these Porsches have been. They're turnkey cars. These are the customer cars. They haven't obviously got the same direct petrol injection engines you've got in the States now, in the Penske and Dyson cars, but such a good job they do, don't they?
Yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, you know, certainly races such as this, long races, things like Sebring, Petit Le Mans, the car just goes and goes and goes. It's typical German engineering. It's certainly one thing from our point of view. You know, we jump in the car, we press start button and we go. We don't think about the engine. It doesn't concern us. And touch wood, so far this year we've had a very reliable car. So yeah, it's been fantastic.
Yeah. Now, Guy, you obviously won Le Mans in 2003 with Bentley, and your teammates Tom Christensen and Dindo Capello. So
yes, I'm cheering them on. I think you know, it's amazing that, you know, today's race. Obviously, Audi, I guess, have won the championship, or look like they're going to win the championship. It's pretty close.
Yeah. They've got to finish.
They've got to finish, of course. Yeah, but it's been a pretty crazy race. But I think you know, Audi have done a great job so far this season. Probably the cars have been as fast as a Peugeot, but it just shows the depth of the team and the drivers and the crew, that they're able to pull back and keep Peugeot honest and keep pushing them into making mistakes. And you know, I think it's proved certainly this weekend just what a formidable force they are. So it's been great.
Yeah, and presumably when the customer cars, Porsches, get the more powerful engine, about 30 horsepower more, is it?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably about 30 more horsepower, and I would say it's pretty difficult to feel. I don't think it's going to make a huge difference, but certainly the direct injection is a big improvement in terms of you know, fuel efficiency, and obviously that's a race such as this within 6 hours. It is going to be an important part of it. So, but you know, you'll see cars like Zytek and Lola, you know, they're sort of improving the cars all the time. The coupe is still relatively new. Zytek have got lots of things in the pipeline for next year. So I think they'll definitely keep Porsche honest next year.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting, and of course the main thrust of the Honda attack's moving to LMP1. So, but Guy, we talked earlier, and you amongst many others, Andy Wallace included, have always said how difficult this Porsche is to learn to drive and just to get to grips with it. And any change you make has an immediate effect, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a tricky car. I mean, you know, we've certainly seen that it's got the pace and it's very quick. You know, we occasionally get the car just right, as we saw in Detroit in qualifying, and was able to qualify in 3rd position. But it's very difficult to keep the car in the window. I think teams such as Penske, Porsche seem to be doing a better job than that of us. But certainly, it's a very good car.
Here comes your car, your co-driver, Dindo Capello, coming in. Is he at the wheel, or McNish? No, McNish has just bought the car in, hasn't he? Still at the wheel. Yeah. Dindo's not taking over at this moment. They brought both of them in together. That's unusual.
Yeah, it's I mean, obviously they're just trying to battle away up, and Alan's driving a storming race. It was a great move on the first corner there, certainly putting the cat amongst the pigeons. I think certainly showed their intent that Audi were here to take the fight to Peugeot, and that's what they've done. And I think all of them have driven a great race so far.
Yeah, I don't think anyone came here this morning looking at the weather, seeing the sunshine, would imagine for a moment Peugeot wasn't going to walk away with this.
Yeah, definitely speaking with the Audi guys, they were definitely praying for rain, and but you know, they've done a good job. They've done, you know, in qualifying, I think Alan was only 6/10 away from the Peugeot, so that was closer than they thought it would be. So you know, they're just getting on with the job, they're getting their heads down, not making any mistakes, and that's all they can do. And they've left it to Peugeot to make the mistakes.
This is probably the penultimate pit stop for this car. We'll just have to catch up to date. But Alex Pramac takes over from Rocky, and good job they've done. But of course, Alan wants to win this race, and Audi got no reason at all not to let him. If he's going to be faster, it's not going to affect this car's championship if he passes them.
That's right. I mean, obviously Alan, from his point of view, it's his home race. He wants to win it. They've had a pretty, Le Mans aside, had a pretty terrible year in terms of luck. You know, they've generally been the fastest of the two Audis, but they've had terrible luck this year. at least Le Mans was some kind of justice for them. I mean, I guess it's a jewel in the crown, so if you're going to, I think I'd probably choose Le Mans over the actual series, but I certainly want to end on a high and win this race.
So looking at Le Mans, Chris Dyson's raced at Le Mans. Let's just hear from Rocky first, and we'll come back to you.
Out there, this is obviously a very special moment for you at the moment.
Well, of course, but you know, it's strange. I tried to be really careful, and you know, I tried not to push too hard, and it's easy to make mistakes, and it's not an easy situation. You know, for me, it was feeling like the stint was never over. So I was hoping, you know, that the time goes over, and I hope now that we see the checkered flag with a safe car and we bring it home. And yeah, I'm still nervous.
Obviously now the championship well in sight, the win in sight. And as you entered this race, what were your thoughts? Did you really think you could get there?
Well, I mean, still there are a few laps to go, so it's still not, we didn't win the championship yet. But of course we came here to try to win. I mean, that's why we part of the championship. That's why Audi is racing in LMS. And so far it's looking quite good.
So Rocky, they're just saying the approach to the race was, his approach to the race was not push too hard, don't make any mistakes. Maybe some gentlemen from Peugeot might have listened to that.
Yeah, I mean, it was really Peugeot's race to lose. I mean, obviously, from Audi's point of view, they had to be reasonably careful, but pretty much they had to attack. They had nothing to lose, and certainly at the beginning of the race, if Peugeot got into a 1-2 situation, they could pull out a lead because they had extra performance and maintain that.
Chris?
Yeah, Xavier Pompadou has, looks like his race is run. They got it in the pits. It was fourth, got it back out again, but there's obviously some major damage to the front corner of that car. And the winner of the 1996 Formula 1 Grand Prix at Monaco, Xavier Pompadou, is looking like he's going to be the latest retirement from this race, from 6th place.
Guy, just before that, we were going to ask you, we know Chris Dyson's been to Le Mans. Any chance the team's going to come over in the next couple of years?
Well, I mean, you know, I'd certainly hope so. I mean, I think Chris would definitely like to come back and race in Le Mans. It's, you know, obviously it's the best race in the world, so who wouldn't want to be there? But, you know, obviously from our point of view, we've been trying to get the package sorted for the American Le Mans series, and, you know, we've been using that extra time to do more testing and more development. And, you know, I think certainly in the future, you know, Dyson would like to do it, but right now the focus is on, you know, getting the best out of the package for America and winning races in America. So, you know, hopefully, fingers crossed down the line.
Petit Le Mans coming up, and you're up against 3 Penske's there, I understand.
I believe so. I believe 3 Penske's. You know, it's important for Porsche, obviously, to win the Manufacturers' Championship. Having an extra car is going to help do that, but it's going to be tough. Acura have come on very strong of the last few races. They've got a lot of speed. All cars are doing well, but you know, Petit's a slightly different race. With it being that bit longer, there's so many slightly different strategy there. Speed isn't quite so important. It's a race that we've done well in the past. We finished second in class, third overall there last year. So looking forward to trying to get back on the podium again this year and score some points for Porsche.
Well, Guy Smith, thank you for coming up for a minute. Would you like to come and see us a little later on? And
sure, that'd be great.
About an hour's time, come and see how the race is panning out.
Okay, so we're back here at Silverstone for the 1,000 kilometres, and the story up front. Well, the last 15 minutes or so, Alan McNish has brought the gap down to the number 2 Audi from 25 seconds to less than 13 seconds. We've got 165 laps complete. We've got 30 to go. And by my maths, Mark, the rate of knots at which he's going, and with the number 2 Audi more concerned about just wrapping the championship up and getting into the top 6, then Alan McNish has still got a very good chance here. Yeah, I mean, but bizarrely, if he does get by them and win, it means that Prematt and Rockenfeller are going to win take the title without having had a single win this year, before second places and 1/3. And it's not really how people like to have championships won, but they've been consistent, and it's consistency what endurance racing is all about. Absolutely. We've got a Lola in third place just behind them as well, so you wouldn't mind if they held each other up a little bit, would you, Sam? Absolutely not, no. As I said before the break there, they've been a real mixed bag. The speedy Seba car, which you saw going spectacularly into the barriers at Woodcote, it seems what happened was that they were having a battle with a Lamborghini, probably quite unnecessarily, and they actually touched, and we think that the wheel nut broke on the car and pitched it into the barriers. The wheel became loose and it went straight into the barriers, which is a real shame, because they were in line for at least a second place, and I think Peter van Merkstein was getting in the lap after the accident. So
with Andrea Bellicchi getting in the car, you never know what could have happened. They could have got right onto the tail of that car.
So, Sam, just going back to the Le Mans regulation changes, one which we're all a bit unhappy about is the business about tyre changes. Only one wheel gun. I mean, this is going to make these the longest pit stops in the world. How good's that for everyone? What's that going to do?
We've got a plan at Lola. We're going to get Usain Bolt, the 100 metres champion, to be our mechanic with one of our teams. But no, I mean, there's going to be some fit mechanics next year, that's for sure. What they tend to do in the US, where they have not just one but sort of a few more, is they do actually work on a sort of athletic mechanic. They actually get an athlete and train them to be a mechanic. The other way around, it really does happen, particularly in NASCAR as well. So that's always an option, but it's it's a cost-cutting measure, and obviously, as Daniel Poissonneau said, that's one of the key reasons.
We've got the race leader in the pits, Mark. Alexander Premat has come in for what will be the final stop. Looks like a scheduled stop, so Alan McNish goes into the lead temporarily and should have one more stop to do. But he now leads this race, and well, the Audis have been pitting quite close together, although that probably went a little bit out the window when one of them, the McNish Capello car, had to come in for an extra stop earlier on, so they're probably a little bit out of sync.
Alex staying on board, which is significant, isn't it? Because that looks, as you say, quite rightly, they've got that many laps to go now, just 28 laps. He's going to reel those off, 4 new tyres on. Yeah, just checking the other side, so not taking any chances now at this stage. Final pit stop perhaps of the season. Here comes Alan McNish. He's yet got to stop again, and that should restore the status quo. But after McNish's pit stop, that would be the acid test, exactly where he rejoins, what the distance is going to be between them. Just before that, we're just talking about these pit stops. We're just watching that one, Sam. I mean, why make it boring for television and for the spectators?
Well, it's really a cost-cutting measure. I mean, the ATO, as well as the environment, they're obviously thinking about the economy as well, and I think they should be patted on the back for that in some cases. We're yet to see how that works out.
What's the saving? You assume teams won't change 4 tyres, they'll just do 2 and try and get away with it, or none at all? There's
that issue as well. I mean, the main one for the cost-cutting, of course, was the engine lifing of 2 races.
Yep.
That's going to be the main cost saving on that one. And also, one of the interesting ones for our aerodynamicists and our designers at Lola will be the rear wing, which is going to be significantly decreased in terms of the length and the horizontal length of the rear wing. So that's going to have that's basically just putting more drag on the car. So it's going to be interesting to see how that works out and how constructors adapt to that new regulation.
But interestingly, Chris Parsons and I were talking to Ralph Juttner of Audi last night, and he said it's a big problem for them. Let's just hear from Dr. Ulrich first.
Continuing to lead, and both of them doing very well. Is there any course or any race orders at this point as to who's going to win or who should win?
We have one car that has the chance to win the championship, so their strategy since about 1.5 hours is to drive without any risks. The other car, for sure, Alan McNish would really like to win this race. It's up to him. If he can make this speed, he will get the chance. But I think everybody is doing his pace and tries to make the best for him out of it. At the end, it's important that we have a great result for Audi. It's not done yet.
Earlier on, I was talking to Serge Saulnier. He said it's a little bit like a DTM race with the Audi boys pushing a bit too hard. What would you say to that?
I think we have seen the replays quite nicely, and especially the contact between Sarrazin and Rinaldo Capello. I mean, if you have seen who was changing the line and pulling inside, Dindo even went on the brakes to avoid him, so more he really couldn't do. And I think the accident that the car number 7 had was not at all caused by us. So I think our guys really have been pushing hard, but I think there shouldn't be any discussion about fairness.
Okay, Dr. Ulrich, thanks very much.
So everyone playing the blame game now about those earlier collisions. But interestingly, what Wolfgang Ulrich said was for the rest of the race, no team orders. If Alan can win this race, we'll let him go. So he'd love to win it.
Yeah, interesting. He'll still be a bit nervy when he's if he gets right behind when there has his extra pit stop, though.
Just before that interview, Sam, Ralph Juttner said for Audi it's a big problem. He said if we've got just a single plane wing, fine, but in their cases where they got 2 or 3 plane wings, he said it means a complete redesign, and he said that is going to cost a lot of money.
Well, yeah, I mean, I suppose you could say that Audi have got that money, whereas some of the other constructors haven't. But, you know, I think, like Chris said before, I think these are, in some respects, a sort of detailed discussion document. They'll be ratified, I'm sure, most of them, because the ACO are committed to their vision and their plan for racing. I think what we've seen here today and throughout the season is really fantastically competitive racing in all classes. And the key thing is that kind of framework is still in place. So I think there will be sort of dips and peaks around the regulations in terms of cost, but I think the main thing is that we don't change the chassis and change the look of these cars too much. And of course, the overriding thing is that will happen. The cars won't change their appearance too much. But obviously the worrying accident today for Manassion and a bit of air getting underneath as well, that's something that's got to be addressed, and a lot of the constructors are.
Just one final question. Are you working with any engine manufacturer on a hybrid that you can talk about?
We're not. I mean, in terms of future business for Lola, obviously we're committed to privateers and customers. A hybrid system, I mean, obviously Zytec are doing one. Lola are more of the composite manufacturing and the chassis and everything bar the engine, really. So from our point of view, you know, we've sold 6 coupes this year, including 3 to the US. So I think we're going to see a bit more business before the end of the year. And of course, Martin's vision is bearing fruit, and he was the only one to actually commit to it this time last year.
Right. Sam Smith, from Lola, thank you very much indeed, and all the best for a podium this afternoon. And don't forget, Streets of Huntingdon, Sunday, October the 12th.
Thanks, Mike. Thank you.
So we're going to take a short break in a minute. We'll be back after this and see how the rest of this race pans out.
Yeah, Alan McNish leading from Alexander Prema, but we think we have an extra stop to do, and Stefan Mucker in the Lola currently in third.
Just to recap then, lap 171 we're on. McNish leading Premat, leading Mucker, but McNish has to make another stop yet, we believe. Mucker and then Bouillon and Jamie Campbell-Walter coming up the order. So all looking good here, and Lola still heading for that podium.
Thomas Enger still leads the GT1 class, car number 59. Started the race, he'll end it by looks of things. 21st position overall. Peter Cox in the Lambo is 22nd overall and 2nd in class. And still on for the overall LMGT2 title is Rob Bell, who's back behind the wheel now, taken over from his Brazilian teammate, Jaime Melo, in the 96 Ferrari. 26th position overall. Mark Lee had taken over the Porsche from Alex Davison, the Australian. That car is 2nd in category and 27th overall.
Looking at the 2 Audis, I'm wondering if the number 1 is fairly simple, because that car's got 1 stop to make, and then it'll get through to the end. But will the number 2 car not have to make another stop? I'm not sure they've got enough fuel to get all the way through. Because
24 laps
Alan McNish is going an awful lot further before he's stopping than...
yeah, but remember they're out of sync because of Dindo Capello's accident.
Sure, but I think we might see not the battle on the road, but it may be taken in the pits as well. We'll wait and see how that one pans out.
Anyway, Martin Wells is back with us, our roving reporter. And Martin, since we talked to you this morning, been quite a race, hasn't it? And all sorts of things going on. Tell us what you've seen.
Well, yes, I think about 5 minutes after I left you this morning, the race kind of started to fall apart for Peugeot with that huge accident for Manassion. I've been wandering around the paddock and I saw them bring that car back in on the back of the flatbed, and it's not an attractive car on the left-hand side. I know Manassion was looking at that, hoping he might be able to get it back, but there really wasn't ever going to be a chance of that getting back into the race.
Those of you who weren't with us this morning, Martin is here as our guest. He won an auction. We won an auction, yes, and racing for charity at the Racing Car Show, the Autosport International NEC, way back in January, a long time. But anyway, you're here now in September at Silverstone, and we're delighted to have you on board with us. Audi coming in, then that will be McNish making his stop right now, I guess. And
I know he's Prema.
Have the Audis impressed you today? It's Pramac.
Pramac coming in, which is, what, 15
Unexpected,
minutes? 15
yes.
minutes after he last came in, that cannot be right. So it's a bit of a worry. Championship leaders, as they are potentially going to be.
Maybe nothing worse than a puncher. Maybe nothing worse than a little ploy to let McNish buy into the lead. But let's just see what we're looking at. Nope.
No new tyres going on, so there's no problem there.
No, they're garaging it. Oh dear. So what is the problem here? Now we're going to start working out all the percentages, aren't we? Race leader goes in. Now where has he got to finish?
But top 6, got to get 3 points because they were 2 behind.
Yeah, well, he's going to do that, isn't he? Because that, as long as they can get him going again, he's got 5 laps in hand over the 5th place car.
So there's a replay here of the car in question. Just puff of smoke. That doesn't look very healthy, does it?
No.
So there's any contact. There's nothing like that. It's just a mechanical.
No, I mean, quick look at the back gearbox.
They might be bringing it in as a precaution, knowing that they can spend some time in the garage and still get it back out of the top 6.
Ralph Hüttner there in the spectacles. Reinhold just right at the back of the car as well, and Peugeot probably silently just thinking, oh, please don't get it fixed. So, well timed, Martin. You came up just as more drama unfolds. Obviously,
I'm obviously jinxing somebody.
Everybody.
Yeah, at least I'm even-handed. No, you're just asking me, was I impressed with the Audis? And I think what has impressed me with the Audis is what's impressed with the Audis all season. It's that calm, technical, strategic approach to sports car racing which they take. And essentially we've seen Peugeot self-destruct here today because the car was clearly quick enough to win. Nicolas Minassian has admitted that he made a mistake, and there seems to be some dispute depending on which side of the board you sit as to whether it was Dindo at fault or whether it was Sarrazin. But I think probably I would come down on the Peugeot side because it was plainly quicker at that stage of the race and didn't need to take that sort of risk overtaking.
Yeah. So Nick wasn't doing speaking parts earlier on when we saw him, but obviously he's calmed down a bit now.
Yeah, he's been talking over the circuit.
Yeah, but this is a disaster at the moment, isn't it? I mean, maybe it's nothing more than something they can fix quickly, but it is worrying, isn't it? And as you say, Chris Hartley's got to finish in the top 6 to
score 3 points and
get those 3
take
points.
the driver's title. And they need to score 7 more than Peugeot as a manufacturer to take the manufacturer's title. What this all means, of course, is that Alain McNish and Dindo Capello are certainly on for the win now. They were catching 12 seconds down, we thought, with an extra stop still to do.
Stefan Mucker is about to go into 2nd place. Here he comes in the Lola. Takes it now.
So that's a turn up for the Bucks. That is certainly looking like their best result of the season so far.
Wow, this is just unbelievable. And here we are. Here's actually the first and third place cars at the moment running together. It's about to become 1st and 2nd as they go through bridge. Stefan Mucker at the wheel. And what an afternoon this has been for Lola. I mean, couldn't they top off their 3rd place in Barcelona with 2nd here today, their home race?
Well, somebody off in the gravel.
Yeah. Well, who was that?
Fairly big one, doesn't it? The back left.
Yeah, it's the one, isn't it?
Yeah, number 32.
It's the Zytek. It's Michael Verges.
Michael Verges.
On board the Zytek. And he, as you said, he's back-ended that somewhere, hasn't he?
Here we go.
So Beckett's one of the fastest parts.
Just lost it, actually.
He's lost a wheel.
Yeah,
wheel
that's gone off. That's a failure, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's a failure. So the driver, Michael Verges, knows the place like the back.
Yeah.
Back of his hand. He's raced over here in Britain in Formula Ford and all sorts of things for a long, long time.
Oh dear. And John Manchester, who was up here a little earlier with Zytek, you know, so pleased at the progress of Zytek today. This is the car that's had all the problems and it's continued to do so. Let's talk to Ralph Hüttner.
In the pits here, obviously with a problem to the rear suspension. Can you tell me a little bit more?
We have a broken link in the rear suspension, which we have to change. As far as I've seen, something that never happened before, so we have to try to fix it as quickly as possible to get the car back out. So, yeah.
It looks like quite a big job, though. Like quite a big job.
It's something that you can't get to very quickly and very good. So I hope the guys get it done in time, so we get the car back in a position that they can score their points.
Thanks, Ralph.
I didn't quite hear what he said it was.
Rear suspension problem.
Something they can't get to very quickly, very easily. So that's the pit stop for McNish. He's back out. He's been in and out while that's been going on, and
Can afford to take his time now.
Is Capello on board? Capello, or is it?
I think it looks like Capello, doesn't
Just
it?
Capello,
yeah.
yep.
Capello has gone back out for the final stint. McNish having taken the lead, so you can.
Well, this is the win that McNish wanted, of course, isn't it? And Stefan Mucker now confirmed in second place.
Safety car's coming out, Mark.
Safety car, and that's obviously for the debris from Michael Verges. So Guy Smith just talking about the race here and what's been going on. Stefan Mucker and Jan Charut, and what a performance by them. Second place overall.
There's the restart, Mark. Safety car's just gone in.
Yep, now watch that Lola, see what he can do on this. And if they're going to hold that right through to the end. He's right up front there, isn't he? Here we go.
A couple of laps down on Dindo Capello, though.
They've picked up Dindo, haven't they? That's all been done well, and Bouillon's right behind them. But as you say, Capello's now got two-lap lead over Mucker and 4 over Bouillon. But Premat, importantly, he's rejoined in 4th place after those repairs. That's safe. He's got to finish in the top 6 to win the championship and get those minimum of 3 points to beat Peugeot. It's nail-biting, as you say. So everyone fanning out down Hanger Straight. There's the sole surviving Peugeot, but I mean, he is so far down the order, Chris, now, isn't he?
Yeah, 19th, and well, just trundling around really to try and see if they can pick up anything, but there's realistically no chance of them even picking up a point here. And
no, they're in what, 10th in class at the moment, only points for the top 6. So
still driving around though to try and get something there. It's Alexandre Premat, who potentially, dare we say it, is going to be one of the 2 drivers crowned champion at the end of today. But well, there might be yet another twist in the tail here at Silverstone, because it hasn't exactly been a standard race, this one, Mark.
Guy, as a driver, once something's gone wrong with the car once, you're then worrying about it for the rest of the race. It's going to happen again, or the other side's going to go. Or
I think actually what you do is you pretty much, you know, we as drivers, we're kind of just, you know, get our heads down, and we trust our mechanics, and we come into the pits, they make the adjustments, and we go out, and we really don't give it much, you know, second thought really. We just concentrate on driving. So, you know, all of these teams, all of these crews are obviously you know, the very best in the game, and you know, the drivers want to get their heads down, drive as fast as they can, and hopefully you know, salvage something from today.
So probably at the end of the day, the crew's job is to give you as little information as possible about what they've done to the car. Just don't worry about anything, and just don't let you get on with the driving job.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. I mean, I remember when I drove with Bentley, we had Joe Hauser was my engineer, and I had so much confidence in him that I'm sure that if I said on the radio, Joe, wheels just come off, and he said to me, well, don't worry, it's fine, just keep driving, I would have just kept driving as normal. So I think you just, you know, you just get on with it as long as the car feels fine. I think the biggest thing is if you get a vibration or you hear something knocking or that's not right, you know that, and then you pit, and the crew can assess it. But generally, if the car feels fine, the crew tell you it's fine, you put your head down and drive as fast as you can.
Is there a danger of driving within yourself a bit too much at this stage of the race?
I think at this point, I think, you know, you're still pushing pretty hard. I mean, obviously, it's, you know, we're deep into the race now, but you know, really, this is the time where it's all to play for. So, you know, you keep pushing, you keep, you know, you're feeling pretty tired, you know, physically, and more so mentally in this type of racing. But you just get your head down and you keep pushing, because as we've seen, it's never over until the fat lady sings.
Interesting, just there, we just saw Alex Premat just taking a lap back from Stefan Mucker. That's the difference between 4th and 2nd places, but he's still going to be a lap off when they come round. He's not going to catch up. Only 15 laps now to go. Guy, you've won Le Mans already outright with Bentley. Do you want to have another crack at it sometime? Is this still your ambition?
Yeah, absolutely, of course. You know, I won with Bentley in 2003 and second with Audi in 2004. So, you know, I've been very fortunate to win Le Mans. Some drivers never get that chance, and I've been very, very fortunate. And of course, once you've stood on the top step of the podium, anything else is a disappointment. So, you know, I obviously want to get myself in a position where I'm in a car capable of winning, and there's lots of exciting things happening in the future of sports car racing, and you know, hopefully I'll get that opportunity again.
Good. And of course, next race, Petit Le Mans, we talked about, and that, as you say, is a big one. 10 hours of racing. And what's the prognosis for Dyson there?
Well, you know, really looking forward to it. You know, I think obviously outside of Le Mans, you've got Sebring, which is a great race, 12 hours, and then Petit, the 10-hour race of Petit. It's been very good for us in the past. I've been second there with Chris Dyson. We were third last year, so it's been historically been a very good race for us. So yeah, I look forward to it. The Porsche Spider has been great. You know, it's been great to drive around there. So you know, I have every confidence we can be on the podium again. So fingers crossed, it'll be a nice way to end the season with a podium.
Excellent. Well, motors will be live from Petit Le Mans, so we'll look forward to cheering you on there. And everyone, all our viewers and people on the forums, let's hear it for Guy Smith.
That's great. Thank you, and thank you for your support.
Thanks, Guy. We shall see you soon. And Martin Wells is still here with us, listening to all this and watching what's going on. Martin, incredible race. I mean, you wanted the chance to come and join us, and what a race to choose.
Well, yeah, the great thing about sports car racing is it's very rarely dull. People say, oh, you're going to watch a 6-hour race. Isn't that boring? Well, today, absolutely not, and quite often, absolutely not. You never really know what's going to happen right up until the end, and that's the beauty of racing for so long. So much can happen.
Yeah, and I mean, it's 4 times the length of a Grand Prix, and you look at a Grand Prix like Valencia, and you think, well, you know, why bother?
Well, absolutely. Yes.
And here we've had sort of more excitement than 4 Grand Prix normally have in this race. Been really, really incredible, hasn't it? And just so unpredictable. That's the thing. We all came here this morning thinking, well, if it doesn't rain, Peugeot's going to be champions, because there's no reason they shouldn't be. But
here we go, Mark. This could be a change for third position here, because Jean-Christophe Bouillon about to be passed by Alexandre Premat. So the car's working all right, isn't it? No suspension problems with it now. He gets back up into third position, and well, he's going to finish on the podium here, at least to celebrate that.
And now this is what Henri Pescarolo has been whinging about the last 3 years. Did you see the speed that Premat in that diesel turbo is carrying? Went straight past the Pescarolo, and it's just no contest.
Made it look quite easy, didn't he? Breezed past, but fair play to him, because he could have just sat there in 4th, picked up the points and got the championship, but he's still driving it very quickly, getting some quick 1:34 last time round, which is only 0.4 of a second off his best lap of the race.
Here's Romain Dumas driving for Pescarolo and of course defending ALMS champion.
To resist to Alexandre Premat, but it was difficult for sure. The Audi could overtake the Pescarolo.
Well, for sure. I mean, on the straight there's a lot of difference, but anyway, we had a good result so far. I hope we can finish the race. We made a good race today. That's very important for the team, and you know, it's I would have to say 2 class on LMP1 for sure. You have a factory class and the rest of the world. It's a little bit like that, but so far we are not so bad.
Romain, today it was the final round of the Le Mans series. What's your opinion about the race today, with of course the fight in between Audi and Peugeot?
Well, for me, it's my first race here this year, so I can compare with America. But yeah, it's a great level, a lot of spectators here, I have to say. I was very surprised. And yeah, good fun, a lot of action we can see. That's very nice. And yeah, we will see next year what can happen.
Thank you very much.
Romain Dumas, probably one of the quickest men in the ALMS. He and David Brabham just really been the stars this year. Quite strange not seeing him in his canary yellow that we used to see him in the Penske team, but it's great that Penske loaned him for this weekend to his friend Henri Pescarolo. And Pescarolo, of course, now jointly owned by Jack Nicolet, and Nicolet in his privateer, Pescarolo running in 17th place at the moment in that race. So Pescarolo going to have 3 cars at the finish, the way things are going. We're going to have a commercial break in a moment. Martin Wells is still with us, and we'll have a few more words of him after the break. And with Chris Parsons, who's here. There's still a lot of passing going on. There's a little bit of needle match here between the 2 Porsche RS Spiders, the Essex car and the Van Merkstein car. There's some laps apart at the moment, aren't they? But it's just showing who's the boss. And that's Jos, of course.
Yeah, back up into 5th place overall, having another sterling run.
Amazing. 5th place overall, an MP2 car in the face of this competition. So, we're going for a break. There is only now some 12 laps to go. When we'll be back, we'll be there, going all the way to the finish. Welcome back to Silverstone. Just as you thought it was safe to go back in the water, it all goes wrong again. This is Alex Premat having to come into the pits. He's been given a stop-go penalty. We don't know why yet. I don't think Audi do either. Puzzled looks on their faces. He's in the penalty box. It's only a stop and go, no delay. And he stalled it. Oh, he stalled the Cannet, gets it going again. Oh, that was so quick. So you actually have to turn the engine off and restart it once you're in the sin bin there. But he's got going again. He'll go past. He'll wave to his team as he goes past the end of the pits there. and there are only some 9 laps left in this extraordinary 1,000-kilometre race. It's not going to go to the full 2 hours. It's going to be lapped out at 195 as suspected, and that's with some 33 minutes still remaining to go, but can be quite close. Chris Hartley, real roller coaster. Let's just hear from Rocky first.
Mike Rockenfeller, we've seen the car have a stop-and-go penalty. Can you tell us what the penalty was for?
Yeah, we went to the stewards to ask for it, and it seems like at 4 o'clock, around 4 o'clock, Alex overtook under yellow somewhere. That's what the marshal reported, and you know, we didn't see it on monitor, but we have to accept it, and he was just in, so I hope we are still okay.
Fingers crossed. Obviously, still now you're at 5 points at this point, still well within reach of the championship.
Yeah, for sure, but as you can see how quick it goes, we had a little technical problem, and we're basically the lead or second position, so now we have to keep the fingers crossed. The race is over when the checkered flag is out.
Thanks, Mike.
Chris, we think he said passed under yellow, didn't we? That's
yeah, presumably, well, either a back marker possibly. I'm not sure he passed on a yellow when he moved up to third ahead of Jean-Christophe Bouillon, but anyway, coming in for the stop-go has put him back down to 4th place, back behind Jean-Christophe Bouillon and 18 seconds behind.
Bangs into the Matmut Courage.
He's not making life easy for himself, is he?
Chris, you said earlier on, didn't you, this is the championship, no one wants to win. You're quite right. They're all doing their best to self-destruct.
I think I might win it at this rate of knots.
We'll still be going at the end, at least.
Mike Rockenfeller looked remarkably calm, though. I think I'll be having kittens at this stage.
Our guest commentator, Martin Wells, still with us, Buckingham's finest. Martin, what do you think? What do you make of all this?
Well, how many more incidents are there to come? That was very close indeed, wasn't it, with the Eureka Courage there?
Yeah. And,
just thinking back to last year, I think it was the 2 Peugeots running close to the end, wasn't it? The second place Peugeot had contact and they couldn't actually fix the car before the end of the race, so anything could still happen. I think what's quite interesting here is that in the middle part of the race, the Lola Aston with Giroux driving was actually keeping the Audis fairly honest. And now it looks as if the Audi's got a lot more pace than it had at that stage, and yet I'm wondering why he's using it at this stage of the race when really all he's got to do is roll it off and bring it home now.
Yeah, the car behind is an LMP2 car, so don't worry about it. Don't worry about taking 3rd place. You know, just be cool and keep it there. But I mean, what about Lola? What bragging rights? We beat 1 Audi and 2 Peugeots at Silverstone. Yes,
it's absolutely fantastic, isn't it? And it just shows that what a good chassis with a decent engine in the back. We can still build some of the best cars in the world.
So Alex Premat then doing his best not to finish this race, and it has been a real roller coaster, hasn't it? And up and down they're going all through this incredible 195 laps, and we're now on lap 189, so just 6 to go after this. This is on board with Alex, the Frenchman, who's based in Paris. Is it? No, it's not Rockenfeller on board, it is Premat. We've just been talking to Rocky in the pits, so unless they've made a stop we haven't seen. Yeah, they've changed that. So just be cool, Alex, be cool. We saw this man win at or almost win at Zandvoort in the DTM last year. He had to give up that position on the very last lap, had to let Martin Tomczyk buy into the lead. Team orders, but no team orders in this race this year. We heard Wolfgang Ulrich say, we'll let McNish win. He's in a position to do so, and he is. And he is going to win.
7 laps to go. Dindo Capello leads, having taken over the helm from Alan McNish in Audi number 1. 7 laps to go, that's all. Number 10, Stefan Mucker driving the Lola at the moment. He's second. Jean-Christophe Bouillon back to 3rd, thanks to that stop-go penalty for the 4th place now car of number 2, Alexander Premat driving it. We can see him there, 286 kilometres an hour through the speed trap. And 5th and leading the LMP2 class, Jos Verstappen back behind the wheel of the Porsche number 34. Jamie Campbell-Walter and Stuart Hall. Campbell-Walter behind the wheel at the moment in the Creation number 15 are rounding out the top 6. As for the other classes further back in the GT2s, well, there's been no changes. It's the whole race, really. Thomas Enger is back behind the wheel of the Aston number 59, leading that class from Peter Cox in the Lambo, 20th and 21st respectively. And Rob Bell back behind the wheel, and he's going to be hopefully the one taking the checkered flag here on his what will be his home race of the series in the number 96 Virgo Ferrari, 25th overall, and looking very, very solid.
Yeah, now if Alex can keep the car exactly where it is, they will take the team's championship as well as the drivers' championship. There's 2 points between both in both series, and it's all he's got to do. And Audi are going to go away from here with the win at Silverstone, with the drivers' title and with the team's title. It doesn't get much better than that. Peugeot thought they're going to come here and take all three, but it's a complete reversal, Chris Parsons.
And Le Mans.
And Le Mans, yeah.
Yes.
The matter of Le Mans.
Yeah, this is what's really blown up in their face, isn't
it? And what a Le Mans it was. It was a great Le Mans and very, very hard-won race.
This can only make Peugeot all the more determined to come back to Le Mans next year and just wipe the floor. Maybe 4 cars.
It's unbelievable, isn't it, that they're going to walk away with absolutely nothing to show from a championship which, on paper, they have for 4/5 of the season utterly dominated. And you know, probably felt a bit gutted at Le Mans as well, because they were dominant in the dry conditions. It's only because it rained for the second half and the Audis caught up and were much better in the wet conditions that it helped. And we thought it would have to take a downpour for them to do well here today. Well,
again, hopefully this level of competition between manufacturers will bring more manufacturers in. This is what they want to see. They want competition, and it's good for them.
Right, here's the man who's about to take the GT2 title for the 2nd year running, and again by himself, because last year he shared most of the season with Alan Simonson, the Australian-based Dane, and Alan had to go back to race in the V8 Supercar Series, so it left Rob to win the title by himself with Ergo Motorsport. He's doing it the same again this afternoon. Jimmy Bruni isn't with him. They've been together the whole year. They're not together today, and he's going to take that title again by himself. Jimmy Bruni, though, making up for a little bit of it by winning GT2 at Brno this afternoon. So here we are, Dunlop shod, and Dunlop can be very, very proud of the effort they put into this year. It's been a superb effort by them, and they've beaten all the Porsches, they've beaten the Michelin shod Ferraris, and that's what it's all about.
And after the week they've had, it's good to see somebody from Newcastle winning, isn't it?
I thought we weren't going to mention that. Is Kevin Keegan going to be team manager next year of this?
A couple of weeks, probably, yeah. Let's not talk about that.
Martin?
I think maybe a word for MC Racing, who at the moment I think are in 3rd place in LMP2 with Johnny Kane at the wheel at the moment.
Yep.
They put in a terrific drive here, I think, and it's great to see the MC really starting to come good with a car that pretty much hadn't turned a wheel before the season started.
Yeah, it's been a good effort, isn't it? 4th in Nürburgring, and then 3rd this afternoon.
Yeah, it's a terrific end to the season for them. They've developed it well and stuck at it, and that looks like a promising car, and definitely a promising performance today.
Yeah, we talked to Zytek earlier on this afternoon. John Manchester was up here, and he's saying how pleased they have been working with Embassy, and it's all really coming together. And 3rd place at the end, the podium at the end of the season bodes very well for next year.
It's like a stop-go penalty flashing up on the screen for the Courage number 5, Sahih Ayari. That's going to be the 2nd that they've had in this race. Currently running in 8th position and 7th in the LMP1 class.
Yes, that won't make any difference to the points order, will it? Points only for the top 6, which means at the moment Capello, Mucca, Bouillon, Premat, Campbell Water and Christophe Townsend are going to take those points home. But look at this car, what a success story that's been this year. 3rd overall in Barcelona, 5th overall in Nürburgring, and at the moment 2nd place here at Silverstone. I mean, Lola couldn't have even dreamed of that, could they, at the beginning of the season?
Stayed out of trouble basically, haven't they? It's been quick at times, and looking at their best laps, 134.1. The best lap of the number 1 Audi was a 132.5, but that was a one-off. It's really been the 133s, 134. So
yeah, and look at the way Mucca plays the traffic. He's so experienced, DTM driver, sports car driver, and he and Jan Charus really have been the dream team this year for the best of the rest. They're going to win the petrol championship if they would do, if there was one. And Chris.
Yes, and next year with the diesel suffering a larger penalty than the petrol cars will be brought down by I think 3%, diesels by 10.5%. This really bodes well for this car for the future and other petrol powered cars.
Yeah, Sam Smith from Lola told us they've now sold 6 of these coupes, not all in LMP1. They sold 3 in LMP1, 3 in LMP2. And it's the way to go. I mean, what a way to finish the season as well. To beat, as we said earlier, 2 Peugeots and Audi at the final race of the year. Doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah, the optimism in sports car racing this weekend has been fantastic. It really looks like it's regaining its position and looking very strong for the future.
It's 9 seconds between this car, which is Bouillon in the Pescarolo, the 16 Pescarolo, and Alex Premat. So I think they're giving him go faster, aren't they? But has he got a problem there? Is that
bit of damage to the left?
That's the eligibility panel, which is something that the Le Mans officials don't like. This is why Peugeot got they're going to get black flagged for this if that continues for much longer.
Jean-Christophe, we used to drive with things hanging off the car. He used to be at the BTCC, didn't he? The old Williams.
Oh yes, the Williams, yes. Yes, he was the man who never quite made Formula 1, wasn't he? He was Williams' test driver for so long, never quite made it. Do you think he knows that's hanging off? I'm sure Pescarolo do. They'll be radioing him.
He's not going to stop, is he, now, with, what, 3 laps to go, including this one?
Depends if he gets shown the black and orange flag by the officials. They're very, very hot on those eligibility panels. Look how close Prematt is to him now. It was something, it was 9 seconds, wasn't it? I think that's probably come down to about 7 now. Here is Prematt, champion in waiting. Ian Rocky will be celebrating tonight if they can pull this off. But yes, just don't throw it away, Alex.
I wonder how hard he's going to try for this podium and how hard Jean-Christophe Bouillon maybe he's going to defend it. But if he gets up to him on the hanger straight, like you said, Mark, that Diesel's just going to whiz past him anyway, isn't it?
The Epsilon Euskadi Coupe, I don't know why he's flashing Stefan Mucker up ahead of him. He's caught him back up again. I don't know if Mucker's got a problem, but maybe he's just backing off in these last few laps. Only 2 laps to go when they complete this. We're still waiting to see the number 5 Pesca take that stop-and-go penalty. Not Pesca, the number 5 Courage.
It's gone off the screen now. I think
Ayari hasn't gone in yet, but it's gone off, yeah. So, are we heading towards the final lap now? Getting very close to it.
Yeah, Dindo Capello on the final sector through the 193rd lap. Had to come on and see the last lap board here at Silverstone. He was pointing in the wrong way and in the gravel at Copse a few hours ago, and looks like he's going to win the race here. They've had all sorts of bad luck though, him and Capello and McNeish rather, and they perhaps deserve a little bit of good fortune at the end of the season.
Audi's still number crunching there on the pit wall and
working the points out probably.
Dindo Capello then coming down Farm Straight, comes into Abbey. Very, very tight chicane. Then you come out of Abbey, right up against the wall, and you plunge down under bridge. Fabulous corner this. If you ever come back here to see sports cars, stand at bridge for half an hour and just be absolutely thrilled. Ralph Hutner can't stand up any longer. It's got to him.
Legs of jelly.
Absolutely. 193 lap. 194th is still on as Dindo Capello comes over the line. We'll be into the last lap. There's the car that's going to win the GT1 championship. On board that car at the moment is Guillaume Moreau. He's in 3rd place, just behind the Lamborghini. Haven't seen much of the Lamborghini, have we, this afternoon? It's been there. Started from pole, it's been second the whole race, and it's going to finish. But that is our champion in waiting as well.
Yeah, just had that bad start. But here on the final lap of the race, they're going to complete this well within the 6-hour time limit with just under 20 minutes to spare. It will be. Alan McNish surely is on the Rockenfell. I thought he'd be on the pit wall cheering his teammate on, but I don't think he can bear to watch.
Martin, we actually got a smile out of him, didn't we?
We did indeed, yeah. If he couldn't smile now, I don't know when he could.
In about 2 minutes' time, I would think. He'll be smiling rather broadly.
Chris Parsons, thrilling moments, the Grand Slam within their reach. Can they throw it all away now at this stage?
All right, Mark, half a lap to go. Who do you reckon? Who's the driver? Who's your driver of the day?
Driver of the day. That's going to be a difficult one, isn't it? It's, we'll just think about that for him. It's got to be shared. It's got to be Mucker and Charouz. It has to be. I mean, what a performance by them. These guys are going to get the championship. So and the win. So let's give the Lola guys driver of the day jointly. Mucker and Charouz. Fabulous job.
Not Alan McNish.
Again, he's going to get the win. So he's already getting a prize.
So you're sharing your favours around.
We're putting it about. Yes.
I put a shout in for Yoss as well. He's done a stunning job today.
Yeah, he has. Absolutely instant free. And look at that again. Prematt. That's Capello.
It's Capello.
Absolutely sideways. Here we are. Takes the win. They've done it at last. McNish and Capello take the victory here at Silverstone in the Autosport 1,000 kilometres. What a great afternoon for Audi. Let's just watch what happens to the number 2 car, because it's still half a lap behind them at the moment. That car's in 4th place.
Alan McNish, very pleased.
Don't fall off, mate.
What a year, lovely year for him. And now Silverstone.
Yeah.
First race on home soil for 3 years as well. He's come back victorious.
And the class win, of course, at Sebring as well. Wasn't the overall win they wanted, but it was a class win. So, well done, guys. Now waiting for Alex Prematt. And here's our GT sorry, LMP2 champion. Jos Verstappen already won that at Nürburgring last time out, just waiting for Alex Premat to come over the line, and when he comes over the line, he and Mike Rockenfeller are going to be the champions.
And there's Rob Bell taking his championship as well in GT2. Fantastic job, well done. Solid all day.
Punches the air inside the cockpit of the Virgo Ferrari. Great job, Rob, well done.
Yeah, won 4 of the 5 races this year. Excellent job.
Double champion. So, has that car come through yet of Premat?
No, we are still waiting for the... Here comes the sole remaining Peugeot through to complete its race.
19th position.
Most winning the keep of the year, of course, but couldn't quite pull off the big one when they needed it, the last race of the season. There's Capello then cruising round, taking the win, just coming through the veil, acknowledging the marshals.
And the Lamborghini coming through in second place in GT1. Very good indeed. They've had a very good afternoon.
Just looking at Premat, he's moving to 3rd place. He took 3rd place at the end of the race. And there we are, there's the Corvette. I think going off to do some donuts. He just pulled off to the side of the track. Is he doing... Thought he was going to go and do some donuts.
Alan McNeish, winner here on UK ground, and what a fabulous performance, what a day for Audi.
It's a superb day, you know, obviously from my point of view to have won the race. That's 3 1,000-kilometre races that we've won back-to-back here. And for Audi, we've won now Le Mans 24 Hours, the American Le Mans Series, the Le Mans Series, and the manufacturer's title as well. It's a superb year.
Be honest, coming into this race today, how confident were you that you'd get to this point?
I think anyone that watches LMS knows that this year was a very hard-fought year and anything could happen. We knew we had to be in the fight, and it was right from the green light. We had to attack hard. And this victory is all about the way the team focused on the job in hand.
Thanks very much. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I love the poof as he walks off. What a big moment for Alan. He's been building up to this for weeks. I was up here last week. He took me around the circuit in an RS6 and gave me a ride of a lifetime round here. We talked all the way around about how it's going to have to rain if they're going to win. Well, he didn't anticipate this. Nobody did.
No, he worked so hard yesterday. He was in with the fans, he was signing autographs and everything.
Mike Rockenfeller, champion this year. Going into the series race today, did you think you'd get to this point?
I was hoping, I tell you. We were, after a tough year, only 2 points behind today before the race, and so for sure we had every chance, you know, to win. And once again, I think Audi proved, and you know, also the driver crew, that we did a great teamwork, like in Le Mans. And at the end, you know, in the championship, you don't need to win every race. You just need to have most of the points at the end, and we did that. So Alex did a really good job. And finally, we also won the LMS race.
A young team, very, very interesting to see such a young team winning the championship as well.
Yeah, I think not a lot of people expected it, but of course that was our goal, and we did it. We were lucky as well, for sure. It was a great year also, you know, to fight against Peugeot. It was very tough. They did a really good job, but yeah, at the end we were lucky, and I'm really happy.
Well, Mr. Parsons, who did you and I have dinner with last night?
Mike Rockenfeller
and Alex Premat.
Yes.
Well, they should all have dinner with us tonight for the last race, because we helped them win the championship.
And
So celebrations at Audi, Ralph Juttner hugging the whole team. That's going to take a long time because there are a lot of people at Hughes Racing Audi. A great victory for them, and look at that, they're all over the moon about this, aren't they? So unexpected after the bright sunny start to this morning. And let's just remember all the other champions today as well. We've got Jos Verstappen, who just underlined the championship he'd already won. Here's Guillaume Moreau, and let's have a word of him.
1 point. Okay, job is done, and you are champion.
Yes, since 2006 we tried to be champion. The first year we finished third. Last year we finished second. This year it's okay. It was not a so easy race because we had some difficulty at the beginning of the race with a little bit tires, and after for myself I had a problem with my arms. During the 2 stints it was difficult to be fast, but Philippe Poincloud asked us to be safe on the track, so we finished on the podium for the last race with 2 victories, 2 second place, 1 third place. I think we can be happy.
And you can be happy. Congratulations, Patrice Goulard.
That's actually Guillaume Moreau wearing a Patrice Goulard mask, but champions anyway. So full marks to Luc Alphand and his eponymous team.
Got the German beer out already.
I think we might have one or two of those in a while, mightn't we, guys?
Didn't take them very long to get the glasses out, did it?
Oh, Reinhold Jost goes for the big one, the Weiss beer. So well done, Reinhold. Another, perhaps one of the most successful entrants in the history of Le Mans, and here he is pulling off the Grand Slam at the end of this.
Reinhold Jost really is a legend in sports car racing. He was a driver and a team owner. I thought he was a team owner back in the early 80s, and he really has been super successful. Lots of Le Mans wins, very, very canny operating, a real fox. And look at the way he's kept everything together today. Very gentle hand, but look at the result he's given to Audi. Very, very, very good team owner indeed.
Alex Prima, what a moment of elation for you coming across the line and champion this year.
Yeah, firstly, it's fantastic for us, for Audi, for me, for Mike, for Alan, and for the whole group. As well for Dindo, we did a very good job the whole season. I think we scored a lot of points. At the end, we are champion in front of Peugeot on the both championships. So definitely, I'm very happy, and the race was very tough. We were fighting until the last lap with the Pescarolo, but unfortunately we cannot go on the podium. But definitely, I'm very happy about this result.
A very scary moment, just a few laps from the end, when the rear suspension broke. I bet your heart was in your mouth at that point.
Yeah, that's right. On corner 1, I lose the rear suspension right and the rear, and I say, "Oh fuck, what's going on the car?" And I came to the pit, and the mechanic say, "Hey, what's happened?" I say, "We have a problem on the suspension," and they check, and the suspension was broken on the rear, so they repair. But for sure, I was very scared about not to start again. But I think we were happy and to start again, and we win the championship. Thank you.
Yes, we didn't actually see that on camera, but Alex did take third place on that final lap of the race. Just snatched that off. Beyond before they cross the line.
Chris?
So the season ends here, Le Mans Series, but the American Le Mans Series continues, and of course Motors will continue with its coverage of that live. Petit Le Mans next up, October the 4th. We've got DTM live as well, so still plenty to shoot for this year. Martin Wells, you've obviously been following Motors, and you're telling us how much you enjoyed the coverage. This has been one of the greats, hasn't it?
It's been a fabulous race from start to finish. You didn't know where it was going to go next. I think we've got to say hats off to Audi. Peugeot have undeniably had the fastest car all season, but Audi have always been there, always kept them honest, always kept the pressure on. And if you go into the final round of a championship with a chance, you can see what can happen, and that's exactly what's happened today. And they've come away with the championship, and good luck to them.
Great. Well, thank you very much for being with us, and you've helped pass the time. A long 6 hours, isn't it? Yeah, we're going for a commercial break, and we'll be back for the podium in a minute, and Chris Hartley, Chris Parsons and myself, Mark Coe, will just take you to the end of the programme. Martin, again, thank you.
Thank you very much. I've enjoyed myself. It's great. Thank you.
And thanks also to dailysportscar.com, autosport.com as well for all their help, both those, and of course also to all you people on the motorstv.com forum. Keep the messages coming. We'll reply to all we can when we come back after this break.